Life is an action-oriented movie, right? And if you don't take action, nothing's gonna get developed. Nothing's gonna happen.
A dream can be beautiful. It can be wonderful. You're imagining that in your mind. You're looking at it happen, and it's very inspiring. It's motivating you. You're getting pumped. Maybe your heart is racing and everything.
I wasn't perfect. I started this podcast when I didn't know how to freaking sit and be in front of the camera.
How you can connect, you can add your personality to your skill, and then
Sure.
you combine those two, and then you become that much valuable, because now it's not just about the skill, it's about your personality being added onto the skill. And so
be ready to change yourself. Be ready to challenge your better self. Know that your mind can develop a passionate winning spirit, but not by yourself. We guarantee your family in love with your life, and you're gonna love all the grind. Lewis and Bars, together we develop your mindset with vitamin C for your mind. Don't you settle with what you know. There's much to learn, there's much to earn. Tell yourself, I'm ready to fight, ready to be heard. Out of success and awakening rise. There's so many words that turn into prices. Be ready to change for the best. Step up and be great. Don't be like the rest. Develop your mindset.
All right, so we're here today. We're gonna be recording live on Instagram. Also, we're recording it for YouTube channel. And today the podcast is number 48, and it's been a lot of things. It's been happening all around us. We are in Los Angeles downtown, and here it's been really, really hectic. It's been like over 2 weeks, right? It's been going on, all these protests, everything. It's been really intense. Work days, we're kind of like leaving early because it's a little bit unstable, and we're trying to do our work, our orders, run our lives, and make sure we're safe, everyone's safe, gets home safe, gets back to work. So far it looks okay, but it also looks not so good either because a lot of military cops, wooden covered windows, everything. So it's really not your typical normal place to be. So this is number 48 podcast, Develop Your Mindset, and with me and Luis, we've been doing this for a while now. We put out really good content, all kinds of things that happens in the company. We experience, we learn, we talk about everything like that. Today I thought I've been wondering what can I talk about? There's so much happening, right? So I was listening to Jim Rohn this morning, and I was like, his the way he puts together, the way he explains everything, it's so unique and so different. It's his way of telling the story, and I thought that's something that we should try to do, attempt to do, kind of like take his kind of way to explain the stuff that we're going through today as a company, as a downtown Los Angeles, the environment that we're in. So I thought this is gonna be good. Hopefully, me and Luis, we have a different perspective. We understand what is Develop Your Mindset is, and we're gonna be trying to explain it from that point of view. All these questions that we wrote down from the wisdom of the old. That person is not with us any longer, Jim Rohn, from his wisdom. So I think we're ready. We're gonna start. So Luis can say a few things before we do.
yes, hi everyone, hi Instagram, hi YouTube. So yeah, we're back, another podcast episode, in which we're gonna be talking about your whys and stuff like that. And I mean, it's been quite some quite crazy weeks.
Oh yes.
I live here in downtown, well, very close to it actually, and it's crazy. It's crazy, but I mean, you gotta move forward. You still gotta work hard, you still gotta do what you gotta do. So that's really what I've been focusing on. what's going outside, I can't control that, but I can control what I do here. So that's what I'm focusing on. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get started with the podcast.
Yeah. So today podcast is your list of why. We should all have list of why. We all have list of why, of course, and so I want to elaborate on this list of why, because I thought this is such an important thing. People mostly when we look down this window and we see the protesters going by, and we see them a lot, not one or two times, but I see a lot of youngsters doing it, and I mean youngsters 16, 17, 18 years old, a lot of them in those crowds. So we've been asking ourselves, like, what's happening, like why there's all this younger crowd in those protesters and not older, and everything else we're asking. So I thought, because we're asking all these questions, I thought we should talk about a little bit about why, like your list of why. Like we have all list of why. I do have list of why. I always ask myself, why am I not doing this, or why I'm doing this more often? What am I missing? Why I'm not doing the certain things that I'm not doing? So I think it's such an important thing to really focus and think about this why, and then apparently there's a list. You should have a list of why you're doing things and why you're not doing things. Also, yeah, I mean, we always talk about in this podcast about, like, you should be organized, you should write stuff down, you should focus on what you're doing, and what are importance. The importance always change, it never stays the same, of course, in our daily life, and time change, and the importance change, and the whys change too. So we should really have this, like, this should be one of the important everyday thing. You should go over your whys, like your list of whys. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy how the environment change, the atmosphere change, and then now I'm asking a little bit differently now. The whys, like it used to be like we should come early, really really early, and then we should stay late and do as much as we can. Let's work on maybe bringing another client and do some more designing, do some more courses. Let's go to seminars or like conferences. Now all that is changed. We're not doing as much those things anymore. Other things became important. So list of why, so I think that's important. Before I give you that question, I wrote here, today people are increasingly asking, what is my why?
I believe it's extremely important that you have a list of whys, because I think I've said this previously in previous podcasts that the road is going to be hard. The journey is going to be extremely hard. There's going to be a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges, a lot of pain, a lot of struggle. And in order for you to even want to keep going, despite everything that's happening, you're going to have a very strong why, a very strong purpose, very strong reason as to why you're going to keep going even when there's pain. Because, naturally, we're wired to sort of avoid those things. We're wired to put ourselves into survival mode, to put ourselves in a place where we're comfortable, where there's the least amount of pain, the least amount of resistance. We're wired that way. So in order for you to combat that wiring that we have naturally, you're gonna have a very strong purpose, something that's very personal, something that really pushes you to want to take more action even when things get hard, even when you're struggling, when there's pain. And so that's why it's very important that you have that list and that you actually write it down as well. That way, in case you're in that situation where you're feeling pain, you're feeling stress, you can always go back to that list and look at it over and see, like, okay, this is the reason why I'm still gonna go out there and still take action, even though I feel the stress, I don't feel so good, but I have that list. I know exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I know it's the right path. And also, it's important to have this list of whys, because the people around you will also persuade you to not go through that, because most of the people that you may have around, they probably love you, they probably want the best for you, but at the same time, like, they don't want you to be in a place of pain. They want you to be happy, they want you to be comfortable. And so when you're going through that journey, they may try to even stop you and try to tell you, like, hey, you know what, why don't you just take it easy, why don't you just do this instead, this looks easier, this looks more calmer, more comfortable. And so that's why you need to have your list of whys, because you don't want to do that. You don't want to put yourself in a place like that. You want to go in the path that that's not that comfortable, but that's gonna get you closer to your why, your purpose, whatever that is gonna get you much closer. And so that's why I believe it's so important to have that list of whys.
List of whys are so important. Now, next is like work on your list of whys. So it's very important to start putting work. It's not going to happen by itself, obviously. Nothing happens by itself. It's all work. If you work on it, then it's going to come intuition. If you don't, then it's just sitting there. So now there's many multiple different things that we need to work on, which is number one is work on yourself. Work on yourself, work on your why. And then also next is your brother, sister, your spouse, your son and daughter, and then goes on further out, your friends and families and that kind of thing. So now if you don't know how to work on something, then maybe you should kind of start doing some little bit of studying, which in the past I did a lot of studying on how to learn how to work on myself, how to self-develop. I had very different mindset back 6-7 years ago. I did work hard on myself to develop myself. That's why in the end, when we started this podcast, we were thinking what to call the podcast. We end up calling it Develop Your Mindset, because that's what it took for him and for me to be in this place where we can sit in front of the camera and just like start doing the podcast. And so it takes a lot of work, a lot of development. Also, if something is very important, your why is so important for you, and that thing that you need to change, sometimes you just changing yourself is not going to be enough. If your spouse or your son, daughter working not towards of that why, then that could be really difficult. It's almost like you're going against the river type of the thing, and then the force of the river is so strong, it's always pushing you to the other direction that you're trying to swim upwards. Sometimes that's how it seems like when you're working on something to fix and to or recreate or create. So when you're working on your whys, you have to, like, personally, I am working so as hard as on my spouse and my wife and my son and my brothers and my team. I'm working as hard. Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm working on myself, and also I'm working that much harder to people all around me to put this why, my why, out there for everyone to help me to get this come into reality. So just working on yourself, on your why, is not going to be enough. It's never enough. There's this one saying about it takes a village to raise a child, something. So it's true. Like, you can change yourself, but you cannot change around you, and so you kind of have to get people involved with you, I guess, so things can actually start moving forward from that point of perspective. So that's pretty much you have to, like earlier you said, we said have the list of your why, and then the list should be family, spouse, friends, and on down.
So when you're working on your list, you're pretty much working on building it and creating it to how you see fit, and to really, like, it should be created like based on your belief system and your personality and really who you are. So, this might take some time. Like you said, you do have to work on yourself in order to understand yourself. And then once you understand yourself, that's when you can start creating more personal and more stronger whys. Because when you don't understand yourself, when you don't know yourself, it's very hard to find anything you actually really care for, because you don't know yourself that well just yet. So it's very important that you work on yourself. It's crazy down there, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, it's very important that you work on yourself, because that'll help you, be able to dissect, what are the whys, because there's so many whys out there. There's so many reasons you can be doing things. There's so many reasons why you should work hard. There's so many reasons why you should do this and that and that. But you got to find which one works for you, which one clicks for you, because not all of them are going to click for you. Like he has his own, and I have my own. But for you, it may not be the same. You may be doing it for another reason. You may have another why, and that's perfectly fine. But you got to find which one resonates with you the most. And in order for you to do that, you really have to understand who you are to the core, and really understand like how you want to see the world as well. So you'll have to go through that journey of knowing yourself and really, asking yourself, questioning the world, really questioning your beliefs, questioning, everything about life, and
question everything.
And get yourself informed and see like what's really true out there and what's not, and then based on that, then that's when you can start making your own decisions, start making your own really start building your own belief system, and ultimately you'll start to work on your list of whys and start to build them, and they'll just get stronger and they'll get better with time.
Yes, yeah, very important. Next, we have this question here following is why you should develop a dream strategy. Now once you know your why, now you have to have you have a dream, and then you need to develop a strategy. Why you should have dream strategy. So the strategy should be advancing in your in where you are. For me, I want to advance. I used to sit and work by myself and believe that I was going to be able to, because I'm a talented jeweler, designer. I thought I was going to do it all and make my money, and I'm gonna buy a house and create my dreams and everything. Now that strategy for me, it didn't work. Maybe it's gonna work for you, but for me, I realized that the dreams that I carry, it's much bigger than me. So if your dreams are much bigger than you, then you have to have a strategy. You have to know the steps. You have to kind of like create steps. If you don't know, then you should go and maybe do some studying. There's plenty information out there that explains how to organize your dreams and have a strategy how to get there. And while you're doing this, it's a moving. It's almost like it's alive. It's moving. What do you call? Like it's. You can work on it, and then you can always re-strategize it all the time. So for me, this is my experience. This is what I keep on doing it, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon, because the strategy is like very, very big, a lot bigger than me. Multiple people are involved in it, and obviously these people have their own space where they can work independently on the same strategy, as long as the kind of the outcome is agreed on, and all these people are working towards towards this dream. This is what it's going to take, and hopefully I'm I'm putting a picture out there for you guys to kind of like sit and ask yourself, what is your strategy? Like, what kind of dreams do you have? Do you have a strategy? Have you developed one? And if you haven't, this is very important that you actually take time, sit down, and develop the dream strategy. That without knowing where you're gonna get is so hard. Already it's hard enough to actually make something happen, to actually create something. Without strategy is not. It's gonna be way harder than knowing.
Yeah, so I actually made a video on my own personal channel in which I spoke about this. This is like a 15-minute video. You can actually find it somewhere down below. I'll leave a link to my channel. But very briefly here, that in that video I explained why dreaming itself wasn't enough, and that you actually had to put in the work in order for that dream to even matter or to mean anything. So I think it's very relevant to this point we're trying to make here, which is developing a strategy behind your dream. Because you see, a dream can be beautiful, it can be wonderful. You're imagining it in your mind. You're looking at it happen, and it's very inspiring. It's motivating you. You're getting pumped. Maybe your heart is racing and everything. You're excited. You're smiling. You're like, yeah, I like that dream. I want to go after it. But then, if you don't follow that up with action, then it's just kind of gonna remain as a fantasy, as a dream. And so the reason why it's so important to develop a dream strategy is so that you're able to apply certain actions that make that dream a reality. Because ultimately you don't want your dream to just stay as a dream. You want it to actually become a reality. You want it to actually be something that you can show people, and that people can take value from your dream, whatever your dream is. If you're planning to create a product or create a specific service, you want ultimately people to be able to take that value with them. And if it just stays in your mind as a dream, well, those people are never going to be able to take any value from it. And so that's why I feel like it's so important that you develop a strategy behind your dreams. So every time you have a dream, start implementing your steps. Okay, in order for this dream to happen, I gotta do this first, I gotta do this second, third, and so on and so forth. Have your list of goals, have your list of things that must be done in order for that dream to happen. Not just things to do, but also it could be ways of thinking. So I gotta think this way if I want that dream to happen, and stuff like that. And so that's why I think it's so important. Because this is almost like I think we spoke about this in another podcast of stop wishing, start doing. I think this applies really well here. Wish, dream, sort of the same thing actually. If you really think about it. So you have to also do. But also don't disqualify the dream. The dream is also very important, but you gotta have both. You gotta have the dream, and you gotta have the strategy so that dream becomes a reality.
Nice. Yeah, we're gonna there is this other aspect of this. First, we're talking about develop a dream strategy. Next is why not? Why not explore your possibility? So we all have possibilities. We all have talents, smartness, uniqueness, artistry.
Oh, yeah.
On and on. One person becomes the best in the school. The next person creates this big company where you can hire 1,000 people. And this is not a story. This is real out there. So why not explore your possibilities? You should not sit home or at some work where 10 years pass by and you're comfortable doing what you're doing, and then dreaming that one day you want to start something, or you want to make more money, or you want to have a nicer car, and on and on. So like what you said, you have to actually get out there and do it. That's very, very important, doing. If you don't do it, none of this is possible. All this will remain as a dream. The dreaming is very, very important, of course. Those are steps of the dreaming, and doing is very essential for your dreams to start becoming true. So why not? You should ask yourself, why not? What do you have to lose? we, like Jim Brown said, we all gonna basically, he said, we all gonna eventually die and perish. Why not give it a shot? Why not do it? Don't just sit and say, I'm 45 years old, it's over for me. I'm 60 years old, it's over for me. Kentucky Fried Chicken, the general, he succeeded when he was 62, 65, something. Until then, this guy was kept on trying, kept on failing. That's what it took for him to succeed. And the thing is, don't have any regrets. When there's the day comes, we're all gonna die and leave this planet. We all gonna have a lot of regrets, and I'm trying to minimize my own regrets. So this is what I'm working on, and you have to ask yourself, why not?
Yeah, so exploring your possibilities, I think there's a huge advantage, to exploring your possibilities. Everything from like really finding what you're dissecting your why. So exploring your possibilities can be a process. It could be a step that you take in order to find your whys, because like I said, at this point, maybe you don't know what your why is. You don't know why you want to work hard, why you want to make more money, why you want to do this and that. So it's actually a very good step to take, and just go out there and explore, go try things out. Right now you might have actually tried something and it didn't work out, and possibly you're stuck now, because of one failure. One thing didn't work out, you're like, oh my god, it didn't work. I really liked that one thing, but it didn't work out. Now I'm stuck, I guess this is over, so it's important that you actually go and you explore other things, because who knows, maybe that wasn't actually, it didn't really matter for you in the end. If if one failure stopped you from continuing on. So it's good to try out something else, or if you already found that one thing, you already found your why, then perhaps, and you're stuck somewhere, you're failing, or for some reason you're not able to move on. It's very important that you explore the other possibilities, other ways to do whatever it is that you're doing. There may be a reason why it's not working, why you're failing. So it's better to find other possibilities, find other ways to do that one thing in order to make it work, to make it succeed. And sometimes we just get stuck, and we get stuck on a loop doing the same thing and expecting something else to happen, and that's just not going to work. So that's why it's very important to explore your possibilities, either to find your why or to find new ways of doing something in order for you to succeed and continue moving forward.
Yeah, that's so true. Even I see so many people there at an age where they had their kids grown up and everything. They're still stuck in the kind of loop, and you have to take some kind of risk, some kind of action, some kind of go out of your comfort zone, and then it's okay to fail. Don't a lot of people are not doing it because they're afraid of failing. So that's another thing. So next is I'm continuing is, why not you? Why not me, right? Why not you? It is very possible. It can happen to you if you go after it. So if you don't go after it, it's never gonna happen. It's something that life is an action-oriented movie, right? And if you don't take action, nothing's gonna get developed. Nothing's gonna happen. So ask yourself, why not you? And it is very possible. So possibilities are there all the time. What is it like? There's always that chance is out there. And if you don't actually be involved in that doing, the chance will come and go. Somebody else will grab it, So there's always, if you're not taking chance, if you're not actually working towards why not me, and working towards, and those things are not going to happen to you. You know, there's this saying, I don't know if you guys heard of it, that this guy is asking God why I'm not why the lottery is not hitting to me, and one day God turns to him and tells him, like, if you play lottery, maybe you'll get lucky. It's gonna hit to you. So really, like, if you don't do it, it's not gonna happen. So basically, just ask yourself, why not me? Why not you? If you start doing it, it's gonna be very possible, and it will happen to you. So if you go after it, it's going to happen. So it's all about taking action. Don't be too lazy. Don't make any excuses. Basically, don't tell yourself tomorrow. Tomorrow is never end. It's always now. And just go and do it. So many times I'm working. I get this heat in my core. I just drop stuff. I get up and I tell you something. I tell Rita something, or I take action. I call.
Yeah.
Just do it. There's that moment you have to act.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, that's ask yourself, why not you?
For sure. Yes. I mean, I can completely relate to this. Like, really ask yourself, like, why not you? Like, anything you want to do in this life, like, ask yourself, like, why can't you be the one who does it?
Yeah.
There's already, like, I think this comes down to possibly like a lack of self-esteem, a lack of self-confidence, and just looking at how many people there's already out there. They may be doing the same thing that you already want to do, and so you may be asking yourself, like, why should I even jump into it? If there's already somebody who's already done it, they're really good at it. But the thing is that they're not you. They, as good as somebody could be out there, they're not you. So they don't have that essence that you have. So the thing about everything that exists in this world is that, while there may be a lot of artists, there may be a lot of jewelers, there may be a lot of people who make videos, at the end of the day, not everybody can do them like you do, because you have a unique, essence to yourself, like your personality, that's very unique. So when you connect your personality to the craft, that essentially, it creates a very unique experience for whoever experiences that, because, it's you're the one who's connecting with the art. And actually, I put this concept in our upcoming book of the 10 stages to skill mastery. I put how you can connect, you can add your personality to your skill, and then you combine those two, and then you become that much valuable, because now it's not just about the skill, it's about your personality being added onto the skill. And so always take that approach, because like I said, nobody can do it like you can. So always go and give it a try. I myself did this with, like, writing. Like, at first I didn't believe I could write. So what I would do is that anytime I wanted to, like, at school, I wanted to write something for a girl that I liked, or I wanted to just write something just because I wanted to show it to someone, I would always go online and, like, I would I would take something that somebody else already wrote, and then, like, I would put that, and then I would give it to whoever I wanted to give it to. But eventually I was like, like, why not me? Why can't I just write my own stuff? Why can't I just become like that good, as good as that writer, or as good as that musician? Why can't I do it? So I started, and at the beginning I sucked. I was really bad, but eventually you keep at it, you practice, and eventually you start getting so much better. And so that's really how it works. And it's all about that self-esteem. It's all about, sometimes it's even just about making that decision where you just, like, what, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna do it because I believe I can do it too. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, next one follows. Why not now? You must do it to start seeing the change. So I mean, there are few people around me right now today, as we speak, that they want to do certain things, but they're waiting for them to become perfect, to have it perfect, then they're gonna start. And for me, I started a ton of stuff that I wasn't perfect. I started this podcast when I didn't know how to freaking like sit and be in front of the camera. If I show you guys my first camera by myself that I'm recording and I'm talking to myself, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start doing this shows. I look like an idiot, and eventually, you know, I got better and better and better, and we're still working on this. This is an ongoing process, and this is what it takes. So why not now is very important. You have to start now. You cannot wait for whatever you want to do you to become perfect. You become perfect when you are actually doing it. When you're failing it in something, that's when you start developing your skills. You know, you stop doing certain things don't work. You start doing things that it actually works. When you start seeing results, you go after results. You should be a result-oriented company. Person. So it's very important to have this mindset of why not now? What are you waiting for? Like, I don't wait for anything. You know, you know, we have all these questions that we wrote. We did our research, everything, but I don't know what I'm gonna speak. I sat here and I'm speaking to you guys because I'm speaking from my own experience, from my own heart. This is what actually really happens. You know, and it's very important to understand why not now is very important. You have to understand that. You have to do it now. Don't wait for later. Later might never come. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Are we going to be alive? Or whatever is going to happen. We are here now. It should be now. And whatever is your dream, and why not now? Why not you? We're all talking about all this stuff. This is such an important point. I felt like to make a change, to bring a change, you have to do your action. You have to move. You have to do it now. So this is why I'm very eminent about this, because this is what it takes. And if you are waiting for change, the change is not coming. The change is you. You have to change. Once you change, once you start doing now, then you start seeing the hope that it's possible, the possibilities. And start now, change now, have the mindset of why not now, and just go at it, and it will happen. It will come. I promise. This is how I did it, and it will happen to you. It will happen to your kids, their kids, 100 generations later. It won't change. It will stay the same. This questions will never change.
I think it totally comes down to realizing that you're not guaranteed any amount of time, you know, to start. You really aren't. Like, who knows? This might be the last day for you. So you really have to ponder about that idea, even though, you know, you may not want to ponder it, but the truth is the truth, you know, that one day you won't be here. And so you have to really take that into consideration and think about the fact that, you know, you just don't know how much time you have left. So you might as well just do it now, you know, take some sort of step now. You know, like he said, you don't have to be perfect, and as a matter of fact, you won't be perfect. It's impossible to be perfect right from the start, because you have no experience, you've never done it. So obviously you're gonna be bad at it. There's nothing to worry about there. Don't get all like paranoid and scared and be all, you know, feeling down and depressed because you failed at the beginning. Like, it's pretty obvious that you're gonna fail, and it's just natural to do that because you just don't have experience. But if you don't start, you know, then you're always gonna remain at the same level. You're always gonna remain in that position where you suck. You're never gonna get any better if you don't start. So, you know, the first step is to really start, and to really start taking steps towards improving yourself later on. And of course, you know, I wrote a book about this as well. I don't want to talk about the book, but you know, that's I talk about there about a thing that I like to call foundational confidence, which is just like, you know, building that foundation at first. You know, focus on building the foundation, which is pretty much focus on getting the basics right. You know, getting whatever the easiest, you know, stuff down possible. You know, get those down first, and then from there you start building upon it. You know, once you have the basics down, then you can go into more advanced things until you start getting way better and better and better. So, you know, if you want to start to see some change, start by taking some action. You know, and that's really how you're gonna get close to it. But if you don't take any action, all you're doing is just waiting, sitting around, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect timing, the perfect circumstances, waiting for everything to be just aligned for you, like, this is the time, you're waiting for the light to come to you, like, all right, it's your time, it's your turn, like, take action. No, like, nobody's gonna come and do that for you. You're gonna have to do that yourself. And it's just how it is. And I actually think it's pretty fun, like the beginning stages, when you're just trying stuff out. I think it's nowadays when I'm gonna try something new and I've never tried it before and I start failing at the beginning, I kind of laugh at it, because like
here we go.
It's kind of expected, like, okay, like, it's gonna suck the first couple of days, and I just kind of embrace that, and I'm okay with that, and that's how you should approach it too.
That's awesome. Yeah, totally. If you haven't done it, like, no matter how much you think that you are setting yourself to for 100%, that 100% might be out of 100, 2%, because you have no idea what's going to happen, and that 2% is not going to matter anyways. Mm-hmm. You want to become 100% in 2%, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. So as you guys know, we are a jewelry company. We make our own jewelry. We are manufacturer, and I just wanted to put out there for you guys, if you have time, please visit our website Kabartsi and look our beautiful jewelry. Thank you. So next is let's do. We cannot change the circumstances, but we can change ourselves. Now, these are very, very powerful these are life-changing, powerful positions, points in somebody's life. When you basically get out of your childhood and you become adult and you go to the marketplace, or you go to find your spouse, to get married, to start a family, or to start driving car, or whatever you're going to start doing that it's bigger than you haven't done it before. This is like life-changing things, right? So we cannot change the circumstances. Now, there are certain circumstances you're going to find yourself in where you are not going to agree, or you are not going to understand, like law of gravity. You need to learn this, and you cannot change law of gravity. Like certain things, there are circumstances where it's out of your hand. You cannot change the law of speed. You're doing 70 miles an hour, then it takes this much time to slow down, and on, right? So, but we can change ourselves. Now we can develop our mindset where this is the way it is, this is how this works, this is what I need to do. Some things you have to have patience to give yourself the time to start to become better in it. Some other things you have to study and ask for advice, where the advice is gonna help you. Somebody's gonna come tell you like 2 words, 3 words, and that advice is gonna be so valuable that you would probably lose a year and a half until you come to that conclusion. So these are circumstances that it's happening all around us, and it's very, very. You have to have open mindset where you can actually, your teachability index also should be high, where you could actually put your head down and listen and not contradict, and just learn, and once you do, it's yours now to have, and you can change your circumstances because of all these experiences, all this you develop the listening index is open, and you listen, you comprehend, and you actually learn where to use this the new information that you received. So it starts yourself. It's to change your circumstances. Don't blame the circumstances, blame yourself. You have to become better. The circumstance is not going to become any better. You're going to become better, and you're going to go out and change your circumstances. I mean, I can go on, but I think pretty much it's a loop where there's the circumstances are just there. You cannot do anything about it, but you find yourself in there also if you work on yourself, and change yourself. You can easily take yourself out of that circumstance.
Yeah. Maybe not easily, but
in the end, it's easy because
but
once you finish learning, once you do it, you look back, you're like, man, if I knew this 7 months ago or something, I would have done it, and I didn't have to go through this.
Usually, you may be in a position where you can't just change your circumstances from one day to another. You may be in a place right now where everything just seems bad. You might have already started studying some personal development, some motivation and stuff like that, but then you may be asking yourself like, oh, my life just isn't, it's just not, I just can't see how I can do this and still have the circumstances that I have around me. So maybe you're working at a job you don't like, you're living at a place you don't like, or you have the type of friendships that you wouldn't want to have, and everything seems like it's not just like the circumstances just don't seem very favorable to you, to jump into this journey of personal development, because everything just seems so like bad already. So the thing is that you won't be able to change those circumstances from one day to another. You can't just change all these things in one day, but what you can start to change is yourself. And so I can completely relate to this. Like, this is really the place I was, a couple years when I first started personal development. Like, I was actually in a place where everything was kind of everything was pretty bad. And so it kind of seemed like an illusion, like a dream, to be able to get myself out of the mental state that I was in, actually, instead of the circumstances, because like it just seemed like, like it all seems like like this is how it's meant to be, like forever, and like these are the circumstances and this is how it's gonna stay, and to this day I still hear a lot of people say that, like, oh, like these are my circumstances, this is just how it is what it is, and like they say stuff like that. I'm like, that's not gonna move you anywhere forward, like whatever, you can tell yourself whatever you want, but like it's not gonna help you, it's not gonna contribute to any sort of change or anything. So, but the thing is that I put in the work, I still did what I had to do, and I started to change myself, and I started to change the way I thought, and eventually, I started to see that the circumstances around me were starting to change, just, automatically, just because I was changing, things were changing all around me, and so, that's really what's going to happen, and the thing is that once you change yourself, it's almost like a superpower you gain, because no matter what circumstances, you sort of disattach yourself from the circumstances, meaning that you stop becoming dependent on the circumstances to be great and awesome in order for you to feel like you're good, you're happy, you're confident, your self-esteem is high, like, so you make that separation. And so you can be in a very chaotic place now. You can be in a place where it's not that favorable, but because you've already changed yourself, you've changed your mindset, you can still, get yourself out of that. And because you already have the skills, you have the knowledge, you worked on yourself, you put in that work to, actualize yourself. And so no matter what the circumstances are now, you can put yourself, you can get yourself out of there, and you can create whatever it is that you want to create. You can create circumstances instead of just waiting for those circumstances to just happen to you.
So with that, what you're explaining, circumstances, this is right on the point, which is don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. So it's like a puzzle, right?
Yeah.
It fits. So it's right here. Jim Rohn said it so clearly, so amazing that to elaborate this, I can put some experiences in here, but don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. That means nothing is easy, right? We all know, we all say this, but we forget to say that wish you were better. That means you can combat that situation, that you can overcome that situation because you're so good at it. You know, something is not getting fixed. If you had the talent, you can come in and, you know, you can fix it, you can change it, you can make something new out of that. So remember, like there's not much to say here. This is exactly what it means. You just have to adapt this mindset. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. So go out there, become better version of you, and don't worry about how hard it is. Just work and fix it and move on to the next. Any challenge comes in front of you, every time you step higher and higher, you develop something here, everything's working, and then now you want to do a little bit better, you go to the next level. There's other hard things out there, up there, and then if you prepare yourself and you become better, you can easily outmaneuver those hard things, and this is how it's going to work. It's a circle. It goes up and bigger, it grows to bigger. And one more time, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. How are you going to say this?
Yeah, so I guess a lot of us, you know, we would like our circumstances, we would like everything, our journey, whatever it is that we're working towards, to get a little bit easier, you know, because we don't want to put in as much work, or, you know, you just cannot deal with uncomfort properly, you can't deal with failure, you can't process the emotions of fear and depression and stress and stuff like that. And because of that, you know, you just want to find an easier way to for this to ultimately be. But the thing is that it's not going to get any easier, and that's a fact. So what you can do instead is actually wish to be better. So in order for you to get better, you have to learn how to do those things. So like I said, you know, whatever that may be. So if you need to learn how to process failure, depression, and stress, you know, learn how to do that. We actually just made a podcast, the previous podcast, about emotional intelligence. We sort of go into that a little bit more deeper and show you how you can control your emotions and process them properly, and or whatever it is that you need to do, like. But always, you know, always look to improve yourself, work on yourself, try to make yourself more capable, more competent, you know, in whatever area it is that you feel like you're lacking. So, you know, usually if you're wishing for things to be easier, is because you're not skilled enough. You don't have enough skills to deal with whatever challenge that's causing you to feel like, hey, I wish this was easier. So what you have to do is that you have to level up. You have to skill up. You have to get more skills. You have to get better. And in order for you to do that, you're going to have to, in part, you're going to have to educate yourself. And then on the other part, you're going to have to take action from whatever it is that you learn. You're going to have to learn new things, and you know, this all requires for you to step out of your comfort zone. And sure, right now you may already feel a little bit uncomfortable, and you know, the reality is that you're going to have to go through even more uncomfort in order to fix that uncomfort that you're already feeling. And so, you know, uncomfort is just going to be something that you're going to have to learn how to process with uncomfort as well, because that's something that's going to be, you know, it's going to be like your new friend, really, when you start embarking into this journey of success. You're just going to have to get used to uncomfort, and so you're going to have to learn how to process that and be okay with that uncomfort, so that you're able to still take action, you know. But you know, don't stop wishing for it to be easier, because it's not going to get any easier. You know, instead, wish that you were better, and go out there and don't just wish, actually, you know, go and take action too, so that you become better. Go and take the necessary education that you need, and go and take the proper action, so that education sticks and it becomes part of your experience as well, and so you're able to change.
Yes. So we're almost coming to the end, and this is one more different way of putting this as a conductor. Next is, don't just work on your job, start working on yourself. That means the job that you've created for yourself, whether a monetary job, or it's a job that you have to go help the community, or it's a job as a father, you have to make sure your family is doing good, well. You know, now to become better and to do it better, you have to work on yourself. Basically, you have to create yourself. You have to make yourself better in that job that you are doing. Don't just work in your job and think that other things are gonna get taken care of, or you're gonna be able to do better job. Now, if you start working on yourself, you start watching yourself, what you're doing. Like Grant Cardone said, when he was working in his job, he actually had a camera recording him, and then every night he would go home and watch those cameras and learn what he's doing, what he's saying, how he's doing things, and then he would write down, refine himself to build himself into where he is today. And he actually worked on himself. He wasn't just working in his job. So that's why this is very important to understand how this is working. Like, don't work on your job only. Start working on yourself is very important. This is how I did it too. Like when I said 6-7 years ago, I had a crash. I crashed because I was confused. I was lost. I was making good money and starting over again. And then there was a point where I was like, this something's completely off here. Something's wrong. What is going on? I realized I was only working. I was very good hard worker. Everyone told me you're a hard worker, you're amazing, but I didn't realize that I need to work on myself to create a company instead of create Varouge's jewelry bench shop, something, designer. So once I learned that, it was different game, and it took a long while until I was able to get out of that mindset, until I was able to develop, until people start seeing that I'm a different person, I'm doing something different. They start approaching me in a different mindset because I was different. I wasn't looking for the things that I was doing previously. And earlier you said you change yourself and then circumstances change. This is exactly how it happens. So that's why you have to be careful. What are you doing? Are you working on your job, or you're working on yourself? So you have to develop yourself. It starts with you, ends with you, right? It ends with me, starts with me. Everything good happens because of me. Everything bad happens because of me. If I didn't take care of it, it's gonna end up being not so good. So. So this is another perspective. This is another mindset. It's very important. Don't just work on your job. Start working on yourself.
Yeah. So the way I see it is when all you're doing is just working on your job, is almost as though you're just working for the moment. You're just you're doing what you're doing, and you may be really good at your job, but you're only thinking, short term. You're only thinking about like maybe the bills that you're gonna have to pay, or stuff like that, and the expenses you're gonna have to make here and there, and you're pretty much just focusing on very short-term things, things that are just gonna happen in the next couple months maybe. And so
week.
There's no most likely week or month maybe. And but like when you start to work on yourself, it's sort of like an investment that you're making for the future, meaning that you're very conscious that whatever job you may have, as good as it may be, as fantastic as the people may be there, and as much as you like doing what you're doing, you have to realize that anything can happen, and that job can be torn down in one way or another. Like there's just things that are out of your control, and that may cause you to lose your job at the end. And so that's why it's so important that you work on yourself, because when you work on yourself, you're pretty much putting in an investment into the future for yourself, meaning that sure, maybe you start working on yourself right now and it's not paying off. Like you may be studying and learning and doing all these things, and it's not paying off, you're not making any money from it, but that's fine, because like I said, it's an investment for the future. At some point it's going to pay off for you to have been able to do such a thing. For me, I've done things like make videos. I've edited videos. I've learned how to use the computer really well, and a lot of other tech related stuff. And so sure, maybe I didn't really need to use all of that stuff, and maybe that stuff, learning personal development as well and stuff like that. writing. I've done a lot of things, but like most of those things, sure, I was working on myself, but most of those things weren't really paying off. And I feel like a lot of things paid off once I started working here, but that wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have actually, started working on myself back in those days. It wouldn't have made sense. But like
impossible.
Yeah, pretty much. But
because when you first came, I put on you like 7 different expectations, and you're like, yes. Now mentally, if you weren't ready, you would have been like, maybe, I'm not sure, I don't know,
Yeah.
Because mentally you were ready and you were present, you were able to say yes, and even though you probably knew that you weren't so good about it on it, but you wanted to take that challenge.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
Man.
So
it's same thing for me.
Yeah. So ultimately, consider this like as an investment, like, because you see a lot of people who don't like to work on themselves. They always these are the type of people that like to have the results come to them like really quickly. Like they want immediate results. They want that instant gratification. And so the thing is that this doesn't work like that. Like when you start to work on yourself, this isn't something that you do something today and then tomorrow you're already in a whole new level. Like that's just not how it works. Like sure, you're gonna move up levels, but that's gonna take you, who knows, a few weeks, a few months for you to get to the next level. This isn't something that you should just from one day to another. And so you have to see this as an investment. Your job is something that can keep you. It can keep you alive. It can keep you surviving. It can really take care of you short term, but you working on yourself can really take care of you for a very long time, and not just yourself, but at that point you can take care of other people as well, as opposed to maybe your job just helps you take care of you. You working on yourself can help you take care of whoever you want.
Yeah. So basically we are on the last question that we put here, which is the podcast is Develop Your Mindset podcast. So we always like to close it with why you need to develop your mindset. So now everything that we talked about is basically work on your list of why, and why you should develop a dream strategy. Why not explore your possibility? Why not you? Why not now? We cannot change the circumstances, but we can change ourselves. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. That's another amazing perspective, mindset. Don't just work on your job. Start working on yourself. Basically, it's amazing what happens when you change your mindset. So that's why we end up calling Develop Your Mindset. And there is a protest downstairs. This is Los Angeles these days. It's very normal thing up here. There's probably thousands of people down there. So here we go. Develop Your Mindset this is why we bring you guys this podcast. This is why we bring all these questions. This is why we sit here and we talk about it, because believe me, this is so important for us as that's why we love to share with you guys about development. In this case, develop your mindset, because our mindset is what it's gonna make us succeed. What it's gonna make us to grow and become the better company that we always working so hard towards. So don't forget to develop your mindset so you can become better. You can be a better person.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and discuss the beginning of this podcast, which is making your list of whys. So the reason why you need to develop your mindset is in order for those whys to even come to life, for those whys to become a reality. So, and at this point, I hope that your whys are very personal and they mean a lot to you, because they should. When you're creating your list of whys, those whys should matter to you like a lot. They should be very connected to your heart. And so if you want those whys to be taken care of, you need to develop your mindset. You need to, become better, change the way you think, change the way you approach everything in this world, really, from like hard work and from time management and pretty much everything. The way you manage your life, you're gonna have to change all of that in order for you to ensure that your whys actually get done and you don't get sidetracked, you don't get distracted, because this world has so many distractions, as you can hear in the back. So you have to be able to focus and still realize that there is certain whys out there that need to be accomplished, and that's why they need to be personal. That's why they need to mean a lot to you. You cannot just take our whys or take the whys of somebody else and try to make them happen, because they're not personal. They're somebody else's whys. You have to find your own and then go after it. And you need to develop your mindset. That way you're able to take action, the necessary action for those whys to become a reality.
Yeah, with that, don't forget, you guys, this is very important, very crucial to work on yourself. Don't forget. And with that, don't forget, we are a jewelry company here. Please visit our website, Kabartsi website, to check it out. Please leave comments down below. Let us know what you think about the website, what do you think about the podcast, what can we do to make it better. If you guys have any questions, any sort of mindset questions, please write down below and let us know. We would love to get back to you. And maybe if you're an interesting person and you've heard our podcast, Develop Your Mindset, please let us know. We'll love to have guests on our show if it's important enough for us. That we love to hear from you. And please subscribe if you haven't, and Luis will finish it.
Yeah, so thank you very much for listening to another one of our podcasts. And we got the protest in the back.
That's crazy what they're doing down there.
We have a very strong motorcycle back there or something, right? Something's happening, but hey man, take this as an example, man. We're still here working and doing what we have to do, even though that's what's going on out there. And so
for sure,
that's what it's all about, man. You gotta really think about your whys and know that this podcast has to be done regardless of what's going on outside. So
it comes from developing mindset. We at one point we worked so hard to develop our minds.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that you're gonna have to do to develop your mindset, but that's why we're here. We're making all these episodes because there's a lot of things that we need to cover in order for you to be able to develop your mindset. But yeah, so there's gonna be some social media links down below, so you guys can go ahead and check out our Instagram, our Facebook, and there's gonna be links to our personal channels, so you guys can go ahead and check us out. And there's gonna be a link to our website as well if you want to check out the jewelry that we make here at the company. As you said, we're a jewelry company, and this is what we do. We make a lot of good stuff, and there's gonna be links down below, so you guys can go ahead and check those out. And once again, thank you so much for watching another episode.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And thank you Instagram.
Thank you Instagram.